Hello. Good evening, good day, good morning, wherever you are, all over the world. Now, I've been thinking about a podcast idea called Wake Up and Smell the Racism. A lot of people are nose blind or just blind to the racism, or they make excuses for it, or, the conditioning self-hate from even my own community. And obviously that reinforces the casual, everyday racism on top of the systemic racism, and racism comes from all different sectors of the system. And obviously, this is kind of an update slash a pilot idea for Wake Up and Smell the Racism. So let's say this is episode 0 of Wake Up and Smell the Racism. Now, some of you may know I was attacked 2 years ago on my estate, my property, my flat in the estate of Blackers Court, August 2023. Not since then, before then, I've had the housing ombudsman involved because of the crime, the crack behaviour and from the neighbours, and antisocial behaviour, fly tipping, pet fouling, child neglect. It's crazy. I was kind of like the unofficial like neighborhood watch kind of caretaker, really, because I'm a community person. So I used to look after, there's a single Muslim mother, I used to look after her minors, like a 3 and an 8-year-old, because she would just throw them out and not throw them out, but put them out of the estate, and then she'd be on her phone all day. She's single, the husband left her, so I could see why as well, because when I needed help, she wasn't there around. I'm thinking, oh, she's quite disloyal, after what I did for her. When it came to talking to the police, she wasn't interested. I understand the Muslim community have a bit of I guess they just have a general fear or phobia of speaking to authorities more than the average Joe does. Especially when it comes to defending a black man, right? Or anybody, maybe. I don't know. I have to be a bit open-minded. But with the racial injustice I've had in my birthplace, my home, and this is Huddersfield, where I'm born, actually. I was attacked on Dewsbury, but it's still West Yorkshire. I was born in Huddersfield 50 years ago. I'm 50 in a couple of months. Raised in London from the age of 6, just before I was turning 7. Came back 6 years ago. My life's been shit. It's just gone worse. I mean, I was already suicidal before I came down here, or up here. And I made an attempt to my life 5 months after moving up here. I lost my daughter and my business in one fell swoop, and that tipped me over the edge. So yeah, I'm very mental health aware and an advocate, because I've had to diagnose myself. Excuse me if you see me turning wrong ways, because I have a phone. I'm testing things out. I'm looking at my tablet and my phone is to my left. So I lost my train of thought. So yeah, neurodivergent. I've had to diagnosed myself. I've had anxiety since I was a toddler. I seem to have traits of autism and OCD. I won't go into what exactly is, but that's maybe another episode. This episode is an update because I have a change.org campaign, and I plan to upload an update. I think people who have been signing my petition deserve it. I've been getting quite a few signatures. I've been trying to petition out and trying to get people to, some people don't want to bother, again, because it's like there's no acknowledgement of racism or discrimination, even though we should know the Commonwealth is the Commonwealth because of taking land from people and killing and slaughtering people, right? So anyway, I've got some kind of a victory, even though I've lost a lot of property in Blackers Court through a possessions order, which was on the 4th of August. And the Kirklees are charging me with court fees on top of the rent arrears that they accumulated up. If I'm fleeing a property and I don't want to go back there because of a death threat from 4 to 5 white nationalists, and they've been trying to urge me to go back there. Make sense of that. they're complicit and they're ignorant to the racism. When I moved into that estate, I was warned by a couple of non-racist white people. So they said, don't go to the front of that estate because there's racism there. And I just let it fly by, and because I have never encountered these people. I was there from January 2021. So 2.5 years. It took me 2.5 years to bump into these racist people. I know their names, but I'm not going to say their names for now until I feel it's necessary. So yeah, as you can imagine, I've been through hell because I was left homeless. I moved in the night of the aggravated gang assault. I was forced to move into my mom's spare bedroom. Me and her weren't talking at the time, and we have a contentious, dodgy relationship. So she ended up throwing me out a year later. So August 2024, I ended up sleeping in her shed. She's got her own private property, so it's not the council's. I was sleeping in a stone shed, and you might have seen on my YouTube channel where I did have a TikTok, but that's thrown out now. I've got some shorts where you see me sleeping in a stone shed, having to deal with mold and rain coming through the top of the shed. I'm laughing now, but it was no laughing matter at the time. I've got this broom, and I'm wrapping a towel around it, and I wake up in the morning and my bed is soaked. I had to make a makeshift bed out of decking that I collected. It's like I knew I was going to end up sleeping in there because I had this perfect decking put together that I hinged together, and it made a perfect bed. Not a perfect bed, but like a single bed, which exacerbated my neck and shoulder issues. I have chronic pain and musculoskeletal issues, mechanical pain, and I have done since being tall and slim, growing pains and always looking down like that, no confidence, low self-esteem. Being homeless before for 7 years, sleeping on hard floors and whatever else, being on a computer since I was 17 and stuff like that, and it's a combination of things have messed up my neck. I actually just had a physio last week. So anyway, going back to the hate crime and the council, I've been going back and forth with the ombudsman. I've been waiting for almost a year, probably like 9-10 months since the last time I spoke to the ombudsman, and they got in touch with me. Adjudicator actually got in touch with me back end of August, beginning of September, and she's great. Like, compared to all the other people, the initial people that you speak to with stage 1 and stage 2 complaints of the ombudsman, I was getting passed around to about 3 different people. Like, it's like they didn't want to admit the racism. They didn't want to deal with me. They just shove it under the rug. It's like they know it exists in the back of their mind, and they must see it all over the news, but they just switch off. It's easier for the dim to switch off, I find. I'm dealing with it constantly every day. So anyway, when I had the phone call with the adjudicator, she was a lovely French woman. She's based in Wales, and she's gorgeous. Like, the phone call I had with her was amazing. I was so pleasantly surprised. She said she's been in the country 30 years, and she's well aware of the far right and the racism and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, wow. So, I kind of like, I made remote friends with this adjudicator. The case is coming to a close now because, they've sent over the decision, and they've said that, yeah, there is maladministration on the council's behalf. So they've requested the council to send me an apology letter and £200 compensation. Now, I thought £200 was an insult, considering what I went through. When I was living at Blackers Court, I was doing my own art therapy, going around collecting wood and making stuff and whatever else. There's a nice big communal garden. I was growing herbs, onions, potatoes, coriander, parsley, dill. It was real nice. I was really improving my mental health. And then I go and get attacked, which kind of puts me down back on the suicidal path. Destructive, not giving an F about myself, letting myself go and projecting on other people. So I have the apology letter. I've just printed it out. I'm not going to read it, but I'll probably copy and paste some text up on my change.org, or if there's a way of uploading files, I don't know. I might have to think about crowdfunding or something like that. But anyway, I've asked the ombudsman to do a review of this compensation amount because I was studying civil law, and when it came to the possessions claim, I couldn't counterclaim because I wasn't defending the property. I just wanted my stuff, my property, out of the property. and council did make reasonable adjustments to make sure I was escorted there, or to make sure there was just to get in an adequate van to get my stuff out. They wouldn't do it. They just put hurdles and hurdles and hurdles in front of me just to make sure that I don't know. It's like once you expose them the truth, it's like they have a revenge stance, and there's actually a thing called revenge eviction in law. So, I don't care about not having that tenancy, because obviously I don't want to go back there. I don't care about being evicted or having, they didn't actually end the tenancy soon enough. Hence why I've got so much debt now. I owe them so much money, and I didn't get this temporary accommodation until I started paying £10 a month. It's like I was being held to ransom. and my property is being held ransom. It's like I've been extorted. Pay us £10 a month before you get a temporary accommodation. I've been here since March. It's a 2-year deal. The guy that's supposed to be helping me from Rough Sleepers Initiative doesn't like to speak to me, because when you talk the truth and you direct the truth like I do to people, especially when it comes to racism, it's full of Caucasians in the Kirklees office. I can't get to speak to someone from my background who can sympathise, and I can't speak to anybody. They're all Caucasians in there. So it's like there's an intentional whitewashing going on to make sure that nobody of my background or even Pakistani background can get any help. There's a Pakistani neighbour who I'm in touch with from Blackers Court. Well, she was there. She's not there now, but she was getting all kinds of abuse once I left. It's like the crackheads and the racists just want to get the good people out, or maybe just the dark-skinned people out who are good, who can stop them doing their criminal activity. When I left there, she just did this Pakistani lady. I won't name her because she's asked me to refer her as anonymous. So anonymous, she was telling me how people have been rigging electricity in there, like one wire, like the crackheads were like having some wire to some other guy's house, and giving like raising his bill or something like that. He ended up having a heart attack or something. I'm like, what? I'm like, what is with these people? You see, and then they wanted to get away with having a dog shit and piss all over the communal garden where the kids play, the same kids that I was looking after. I was only playing. The back of Blackers Court is kind of separate. If you put in the postcode, you get into the main centre of the cul-de-sac. But where I was living is like the back. It's actually got its own parking bay, so it's kind of detached. People can't find it. When you call up the shopping or Virgin, or like I remember doing Virgin Media and they couldn't find my address. Because they'd go into the centre, and I would always try and help people. Every time I see people like, with takeaways or whatever, and I'm like, oh, who are you looking for? And I direct them to the right number, because it's not obvious where 39, 41, 43 and 45 are. It's a separate little trapezium setup. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, it's I've got this apology letter and I have to accept the £200 because the Ombudsman they've rejected my request for a review. They even addressed the points that I wanted clarification for. They sent a long bulleted list of about 50 points, and I kind of replied point by point of the ones that I felt needed clarification or needed more explanation or something. They didn't even address. It took me about 5 hours to do it, and they didn't even. Today I got the review refuser, I think it's called, review rejection or something. Yeah, that's it, review rejection, and it didn't. Nothing. Yeah, they just said no, we can't do it, and because I'm going by the Judicial College guidelines, that's not. It doesn't align with the Ombudsman, because what I'm doing is through the courts. There's like 4 severity levels for psychiatric damage or PTSD, and I was quoting each figure. It's at least 2,000 going up to 7,000 and then even to 5 figures on the severity level. But that's done through the court, so I can accept that. So I'll just have to accept the measly £200, and I have been, and they've advised to go to a personal injury claim. And it's funny because when I came out of court for the possessions claim, the solicitor that I had, I didn't choose the solicitor, it's a duty solicitor. He advised that I go the no win, no fee route, which is the personal injury claim. So I have a list of pre-researched things. I might just have to do that. There's a lot of clauses and a lot of barriers and hurdles to do these things. They always have a time limit. Oh, you've got to do it within 6 months of whatever, 12 months. And this is the reason why I can't take my, like the final point, the final complaint point, which is, I forgot what they call it now. Associated complaint about like my allocation, my desire to move out of Kirklees and not be their tenant anymore, and my banding and stuff like that. That's supposed to go to the LG SEO, which is the local government social care ombudsman. So that part was out of the housing ombudsman's jurisdiction. So yeah, I've gone back to them. I've gone to LG SEO, and they've said, this point in case, they've said we can only take issues from the last 12 months. Now I've gone back to the adjudicator and said, when did that associated complaint start? She said it was March last year. That's 18 months ago. So now I'm trying to find out. I said it's not fair really, because the reason it's taken so long is because I'm waiting so long for the ombudsman to originally get back to me. So you're the reason for the delay. You're the reason I can't take. You've told me to go and take it to the LG SEO, but the reason I can't take it to the LG SEO is because of the extended delay all during my homelessness. 2 years. Oh my, literally 2 years. 2023 August I got attacked, and I didn't get a phone call from the adjudicator until September this year. You know, we're in October now. So yeah, I'm not taking it anymore. This is why I'm not stopping. I'm not the type to start something like this and put my publishing back. I had a mental health journal memoir that was supposed to get published. I was supposed to be focusing on that, and now I've had to put down the back burner and study civil law. I've started buying. I've been bought the Housebury Law of England book. I've got the Law of the Constitution book, Black Laws Dictionary, got a Latin dictionary. It's like, and I've got the Judicial College Guideline book that's come the other week. So, and I bought a course called How to Win in Court, Jurisdictionary. Is it Dr. Frederick Graves, I think his name is, from the US. So I got the money from the job centre for that. It's $250, which works out to be £185 at the time. And that's within a year. After the year, you've got to renew it again. So I haven't done that in ages because I've been studying. I've been doing my own, trying to get my blog started. You know, if you can tell, I'm trying to do a black and blue blog for black and Asian people and for mental health. It's kind of black and blue is synonymous with being beaten up by the government or being up physically, black and blue. And black is for our skin and blue is for mental health. The tagline is melanated spectrum. I'm trying to design that, and I'm not getting very. It's a slow ass progress because there's no customer service on Webflow, which is the platform I'm using, and I'm using AI to help me. And AI keeps bringing up old instructions, not present instructions on how to do things, so it's not helping. I get a problem, and then before I get stuck, before I get to the end, there's another problem. It's like compounded problems inside of problems. It's like, it just makes me not want to do it, you know, but I have to. Anyway, I've got something else that I want to try out. All this anxiety, I've not been sleeping well. Ever since I've come off cannabis, I was smoking a dodgy kind of cannabis. I was realising it was taking away my reading skills. I was like, how come I'm reading so hesitantly, and it's the weed I was smoking. It was killing my brain cells. So I stopped smoking that. When did I come off of that? July, August, something like that? I think August. No, it must have been in July. Because we're in October now, so. Yeah, I'm thinking, I should have kept track of that, you know. I have got a journal, actually. So that should tell me, because that's when I started my journal. One sec. Let me see here. God, I have to go right back to the beginning, so. Let me see. So, because I started this journal, this is anti-addictional journal. So, yeah, August, middle of August, because I started this 18th of August. Oh, that was the day I come out of court. No, that was the day of, I had to give the keys back by the 18th of August. So that's when I started it. So I must have, first night of nothing to smoke. Right. So the last time I had a smoke was the 17th of August. Right. So I know that's the 17th of August 25, right? Since then, I've had trouble sleeping. I've always had trouble sleeping since I was a kid. So now I feel like a toddler again. I feel like a junior because I always had problems sleeping. Apart from, I mean, it took me a while to sleep as a child, but now I'm waking up. I don't have a problem falling asleep so much. It's staying asleep. I'm having a lot of astral, not projections, but I'm having a lot of third eye activity. Because I eat as clean as I can, and I have fasted and things. I've tried intermittent fasting, and I eat organic stuff. And speaking of organic, I've got a product here I'm trying because I don't sleep, and I have problems. You know, if I'm trying to work so hard and I only have 5-6 hours sleep, my head is pounding and throbbing throughout the day. So I'm waiting for chamomile to help me sleep. I've got raw chamomile in the post coming. I thought that'd come today, but I've got mushroom coffee. There's only £10. It's less than £11, and I want to try and do product reviews and try and get some kind of sponsorship or some kind of, you know, product brand to sponsor my channel, or, you know, well, yeah, basically sponsor my channel, because it's called Wake Up and Smell the Racism, and the brand, I've merged Starbucks and Robertson's Gollywog brand. I've merged them two together. Smell up, and, you know, it's like wake up and smell the coffee, right? So Starbucks is the first thing you might think of, and it's an iconic brand, and actually it's taken from a black identity. People don't know that. People think, why have you got a mermaid as a logo? It's from a black siren. It's a naga, N-A-G-A, which is where the N-word comes from. It's a derivative of the N-word, and so that means the N-word is not what people think it is. It's not offensive. So anytime I get called the N-word, or I won't say it, but anytime I don't really like, even though it's not offensive, well, the slave masters made it offensive, even though I know it's not offensive and it shouldn't be, it's just been inverted as to be made a slur word. It's actually a regal term. It actually means black king. So when you see N-A-G-A anywhere, Naga or Negus, N-E-G-U-S, they're derivatives of the N-word. Over time, words change, and it's different dialects. So anytime I hear that, anytime I hear the N-word, I try and educate them. But some Neanderthals, it just goes over their head, right? It just their head is too dense for it to figure, because they've been controlled and by the propaganda and brainwashed and conditioned. So anyway, I had a cup of this morning before I went out into town. It tastes just like normal coffee. Now, I'm naturally caffeinated because of my neurodivergence. I'm a mile a minute. I'm everywhere. I don't like to be drinking. If I drink coffee, I don't sleep. Definitely don't sleep. I've got a friend downstairs who took me out one day and he bought me a large Americano one afternoon, one lunchtime. And I thought to myself, like, when you have coffee, it makes you go to the toilet, like number 1 and number 2. But I didn't. I'm thinking, why is it not passing through me? So it stayed in my, from lunchtime, it affected my sleep when it came to, and I don't sleep until 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So it was really weird how my system retained that. I was quite confused about that. But that's the last time I touched, that was the first and last time for a long time I touched coffee. So I said to him, you're not buying coffee no more. You buy me, you know, I think like next time you bought me a pistachio matcha. I've fallen in love with that. I mean, I've got matcha here, but obviously when they do the foaming and that you put pistachio flavour in it, oh my gosh. Yeah, that was gorgeous, that was. So anyway, I forgot the seller's name. Oh my gosh. But anyway, it's not about the seller really. It's about the brand here. Is it? Hatman Labs, mushroom coffee. Yeah. No gluten, no soy, which is good. Right? Under 11 quid. And it's just under 40 servings. It's like 39 servings. It's supposed to put 1 tablespoon in per. And you can have it hot or cold. So you can have an iced coffee, which I'm going to try one time. Maybe when it's hot, try iced coffee. And you can put milk in it to make it a latte, it says here. So, and it's backwards on here, isn't it? So I'm gonna read some of the ingredients. It's got other ingredients. Yeah, chaga, reishi, lion's mane, maitake, M-A-I-T-A-K-E. Is it maitake? And your shiitake, cordyceps, turkey tail, king trumpet. I'm guessing these are all types of mushrooms, right? Willow bracket, agaricus blase, agaricus blase, A-G-A-R-I-C-U-S, agaricus, and blase is B-L-A-Z-E-I. That's blase, right? Or blaze. Don't get so blasé about it, Winnie. Instant Arabica coffee, MCT oil and coconut milk. Now I really like this product because it hasn't got all the crap, the preservatives and all the chemicals in it. I don't know if you can see that. See, my phone has got better quality, so it's backwards again, but okay. So one tablespoon, 6 grams, 15 calories. What's DV's daily value, right? So total fat 1 gram, 1%. Saturated fat 1 gram, 5%. Trans fats 0 grams. Sodium 0 milligrams, 0%. Total carbohydrate less than 1 gram, 0%. Protein 0 grams. And then it's got the mushroom blend. The mushroom blend. Chagar, reishi, lion's mane, Turkey, cordyceps. Oh yeah, this is mushrooms. Yeah, turkey tail. So there's another section on the white bit here because I was reading off of the ingredients, but under here, it's repeated. Just the mushrooms. So yeah, they are mushrooms. Wow. Up until the instant Arabica coffee. Yeah, so I'm loving this. Like I said, I had a cup this morning, and it tasted nice. I mean, I'm not a coffee head. I'm not one of those people that have to wake up and can't work without coffee. So that's an addiction people don't realize they have, or maybe they do realize I have it. But because you're supposed to only have so much, right? You're only supposed to have a certain amount. That shows you that it's like drug. It's like there's drugs inside the coffee. It's like it's not normal coffee. Why would normal coffee bean be a certain limit? You know, the kids drinking all these energy drinks and it kills them because they're too young. Their system's too young to take it. That's another episode, yeah. Talking about marketing behind these drinks and underage drinking them and killing themselves. The government knows what it's doing, and the consumers have got no clue. The parents should be suing these companies. So yeah, 10 superfood mushrooms, which I guess I've just listed. Improve clarity and focus, relaxation, balancing and less stress, smooth digestion, boost of energy. 235 grams, 8.28 ounces. So, Hatman Labs, this is a thumbs up. I'm going to keep buying this. And I hope one of you sees this channel. Or sees this video at least. Now, because it's Wake Up and Smell the Coffee, well, Wake Up and Smell the Racism, and I mentioned the branding with Starbucks and Robertsons, I'm looking for a artisan jam or conserve company that I could, you know, promote as well and potentially get sponsorship. One that's obviously for human rights, equality and diversity, anti-racism. So if anyone's out there who sympathises with my story and would like to support me and sponsor me, I don't have any way of earning because my business was stolen. That's another litigation case I'm trying to sort out at the moment. Sorry, police stole and sabotaged my business assets. That's when I said I lost my business and I attempted suicide, right? That was September 2019. So yeah, if there's anyone out there that's, you know, against racism, against fascism, against white nationalism, and wants to support a black Briton who's not been defended in his own birth town. I swear I can't make sense of this reality at all. It's just, I mean, I understand the racist systems. I'm more aware than most, which is why I'm fighting them. But it baffles me how, if it doesn't affect people, it doesn't exist. So the vast majority of the Caucasian community, straight over their heads, straight through their temples, straight through their ears, it just means nothing to them, and they contribute. But a lot of them I can't blame because they've been taught this. They've been taught this by their government, by their forefathers, by the elite, by the authorities. You know, I mean, there's a Nazi channel dedicated on Freeview that's propagating the same thing every day. That channel shouldn't exist, but it does because it wants ignorant households to keep churning out babies and teaching their babies this. This is why in 2025 nothing gets, it's actually worse than I can think. I mean, maybe because I was young, I wasn't aware of it so much, but we seem to be in a worse place. Like I say, I'm 49, so I've experienced a lot of racism being born in the United Kingdom, right? And through this paperwork that I've had to produce, I've got a document called Personal Injustice Timeline. And I've got how many points I've started from since I was 14. I've tried to go back to as early as I can and recollected in my mind of when I first had racist. Well, actually, no, it's from when I was in school, secondary school. So, yeah, from the age of 11, right? So that would be, yeah, so I've got here 1987 in Langdon Park School, same school as DJ Rascal went, but he's about 10 years younger than I am, in E14. And I've got how many points? I mean, there's stuff I've probably forgotten, but I've got 24 points. So 24 points of racism from 1987 to the present day. And most of them are institutional racism, not just like one-to-one. But there's one that I'm going to try and summarize since moving in this property. I live in an area called Ridgeway. So I've called it Ridgeway Racists. Now, I was at the bus stop, just at the local bus stop in June. Maybe the back end of May. Because by the time I met her, it was early June, like the second week of June. Well, met her again, rather. So this mature lady was at the bus stop, approached the bus stop after I was there. And she kind of stood at a distance, like they always do around here. But she looked really nice. And I was like, oh, by the time the bus comes, she was dressed in all lime green. She had a lime green dress and a lime green shoes. And I thought, wow. And I'm one of those people with self-diagnosed OCD. My mouth projects what's going on in here. So I was like, oh, you look beautiful today. And she was taken back by that. This is just when we were getting on the bus. Now, it was both on the ground floor of the bus. She sat kind of both on the left hand side. She sat on one of the front seats, and I sat 2 seats behind her. I had my headphones on like I do when I listen to music, right? Now she kept looking back at me. I can tell she was taken aback by that. She was almost crying, and she did end up crying. She was sobbing. By the time I was speaking to her, I said, "What's wrong?" She wanted to speak. I could tell she wanted to speak to me, so I sat behind her, jumped up and sat in the gap that was between us. Took my headphones off, and she goes, "I don't get compliments." I was like, "Well, why not?" She goes, "I don't know." I said, "Well, I can't help. If I see beauty, I can't help but comment on it." And you'd think that would be a positive outcome. I think she was telling me that, I don't know how true it is, but she was telling me that she'd helped fostered black kids or something like this in her work. Like so many like kids into like a load of kids, like 20 odd kids or something like that. I don't know how, but through some charity or organisation or something, I don't know. But so we was talking all the way on the bus and, into town, and it's still a short bus ride. So we can only say so much. But I wanted to continue to talk to her, but I got a phone call as we got off into the bus station, and I couldn't continue talking. She wanted an excuse to run off anyway, because she was crying. She didn't want me to see her cry much longer. So I was like, oh, bless, So you think that was nice. That was a nice outcome. But then when I saw her again, I was cycling, came back from cycling, and she was at the opposite bus stop anyway, because 2 bus stops right near her. And I thought, oh, Trish, her name's Trish. She goes, oh, Trish. I'm cycling. And she's like, oh, hello. We exchanged numbers, and she told me where she lived, one part of Ridgeway, and I said, I'm at this part of Ridgeway. I'm not going to say the numbers, obviously, but I live like a few numbers down. I'm in a block, but I think she's in a bungalow or something. And we figured out, like, we both smoked weed at the time. She's a weed smoker, and so was I. So it was an excuse to to kind of flirt, if you like, because she kept calling me sexy as well. Like, on the first time I saw her on the bus, she kept calling me sexy and, you're handsome and all this kind of stuff, right? And then when I saw her on the bike, the second time, sexy this and sexy that. So basically, I know I could, if I wanted to, I can get in her pants, get in her knickers easy. But it was weird, because that day I saw her, that at the bus stop, we exchanged numbers. I think the same night or the next night, I'm in my front room, I can hear Winnie, Winnie outside. And I'm like, who's that? I said, it could only be Trish, because I have not met anybody else around here. And up to Winnie, like, that's fine. I don't mind Winnie, but I usually say, I usually give people permission to call me Winnie, but it's only Trish and she's drunk. So she's not just a smoker, she's a drunk. Like a real bad drunk. It turns out she's drinking because she wants to forget. Like, by the time I got her out, she came with some other guy. She was once, I guess she wanted a witness or something. I think she wanted to, the point I'm getting to is that I think she made up this cock and bull story to be friendly with me, only to project more racism. How could you be racist and tell me you've fostered all these black kids? She's had a black ex who treated her bad, so therefore she's got to project racism onto everybody, like everyone's the same. Now, if our race did that, we'd have plenty of reason to think all white folks are the same, and they seem to be, because they seem to be all racist at the end of the day. Like, I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but what in my experience, it's like you befriend them, and then when the opportunity comes to them, they project racism and attack you. Yeah, I've had a few exceptions growing up. Like my best friend's, when I was young, going to secondary school, my best friend's mum was white, but she's married to a black guy, and she's great. She taught dance to the borough, and she presented artistic opportunities to me and everything. We used to stay around their house all the time, so no problem. She actually defended me when waiting for the bus stop to go to school, and I was getting harassed by two police guys, and where I was waiting was on the terrace where she lived, and she noticed what was going on. She ran down and said, "No, leave him alone," and all this kind of stuff. I know him and all that. Do you know what I mean? So generally, the majority of the time, you Caucasians don't even realise that you're racist. You can't say stuff like, "My best friend is black," or "I done this with black," and that just makes things worse, believe it or not. So yeah, like I say, I can't really blame a lot of people, a lot of Caucasians, because it's something that they've been programmed with from inside the womb. Just like black people are born with trauma, you guys are born with this inherent racism, whether you believe it or like it or not. I project a lot of my mental health. I'm always shouting and whatever else, because I've got a lot of trauma that I've not had to exert. I've not had the chance to exert. I've not had any punching bags, or it's people that I've been punching on, hence the criminal record that I do have. So yeah, she wanted to say the N-word, and she did. She was talking to her male friend, her male drunk friend, reciting the time when I was cycling, saying, "Oh, this N-word is going to run me over." And I'm thinking, first of all, that wasn't possible. You was on the pavement and I was on the road. So you just wanted an excuse to say the N-word in front of me. And that's when I explained that it meant black king. I said, I'm not offended, but I can tell your intent was to offend me. How can me complimenting somebody turn into me inviting you into my home and using the N-word as a direct offense? I can't even compliment somebody anymore. This is what I'm trying to say. You've got to be careful who you speak to. Now, I'm very talkative. I'm like I say, I'm a community person. When I go out and do shopping, I'm always find an excuse to talk to people. Like if I find an old woman, plenty of old women doing their shopping and they're reaching, I'm like, no, excuse me, don't do that. I used to be a carer. Like I say, I'm a community person, right? People look at me and judge me and think of whatever. Like I can only be a rapper or a blocking basketball player or something. Again, that's propaganda that's been taught down. We can only be one of two things. When we actually built this world, we were actually here millions of years ago. The Caucasian race is anywhere between 400 and 4,000 years old. Like, they don't realise they've not even been around. And that's why you can't find... They don't want you to go back into history, his story. They don't want you to go back before, like, 4,000... Like Greco-Roman mythology. They don't want you to go back behind that, because it will lead you to ancient Egypt. Well, it's not Egypt. Egypt is the Greek word. It's Kemet. But, yeah. The woke, no. And not the woke definition that the government has turned it, that they've corrupted. Like, the government likes to corrupt all the good and turn it into bad. You see, when I say we live in an inverted world, it's everything has been upside down. So the blacks were here first, and we're put at the bottom of the pile. You look at the crucifix, it's get turned upside down into Antichrist. The same with the swastika. If you look at the swastika, that if you flip it around the other way, you think it's the same, but it's not. If it's made of two S's, that's the bad way. That's the Jew, the anti-Jew, Nazi way. If it's made of two, sorry, I've got that wrong. No, see, I always get. I've actually got a piece of jewelry. It's not on me now, but It's African, originally African. And it's actually the propeller of brotherhood and unity. And it's been flipped into what we now know as a swastika, right? So if you look at it, and it's made of 2 S's, right? That's the bad way. You've got to flip it round. And so it's like 2 Z's. If you see something and see a swastika and it's made of 2 Z's, that's the positive way. It's been inverted to 2 S's. That's the negative way, right? Now think of 2 S's. That's where you get the 2 lightning strikes that's another logo for the Nazis. It's like 2 lightning bolts, but it's 2 S's, right? I've actually done the Common Stealth logo. Common Stealth is a poetry saga that I'm doing, exposing the stealthy ways of the Commonwealth, right? And you see this all over Hollywood as well. Like Harry Potter has the S, the lightning strike. David Bowie has 2 of them plastered over his face. These things are giving off negative energies and people just think it's nothing. You know, there's other places that you find it. When you see a double S strike, double lightning bolt like that, it's not nothing to be taken lightly. Everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. Nothing is physical. Let that sink in. So, people, this is why the devil and Satan has the world in a vice grip. I mean, I shouldn't be talking about this now. It should be for another podcast, but for another episode. I think I should stop anyway. But yeah, we give our energies willingly to all these satanic entities, and it's why the world is the way it is. I mean, look who's controlling the world. Why would it be like this if it wasn't for the ruling elite who are white, Caucasian? They're not white. I'm not black and they're not white. That's the colour codes that they've reduced us down to take away our human rights and our nationality and ethnicity. If you go along with this colour thing, this colour coding thing, it's not doing us any good. It's taking away our rights. How can you reduce ethnicity and DNA and things into flat colours? It's a way of propagating and making so they can justify their racism, because they make the dictionary, right? Oxford and Collins, again, Caucasians, made the dictionary, so you think black is all negative and white is all positive. And actually, it's the other way around. Everywhere Caucasians have gone around the world, they've slaughtered, pillaged, raped, stolen land. This is the Commonwealth, right? And we're supposed to celebrate these things and think it's okay and think it's heroic. No. We've got to get away from the Rockefeller education curriculum, which is making us be a community, a world of what do you call it? Not a world of thinkers, a world of workers, slaves, basically. We're proud to pay taxes and be employed. Oh, I work. Oh, I pay taxes. Work is nothing but overglorified slavery. I'm sorry if I offend anyone out there, but and paying taxes is just you're paying to a draconian system. They're breaking the law by taking tax from us. This is another thing I find about studying law. So it's council tax. We're not supposed to be paying that. If you know how to deal with it, I've seen videos of another YouTube channel of ways of doing it, and that's another thing I want to try and get into. So yeah, I'm going to stop there because as being neurodivergent, I speak and I go off tangents and things. So, you know, I'm quite ADHD-ish, I guess. But yeah, I diagnosed myself with traits of OCD and autism, ASD. Not so much ADHD, but I do go off on tangents like ADHD is. And all these things, all these conditions, mental health things are given to us. And then they're just given names. They're just, my tablet's telling me it's going to run out of battery soon. So that tells me that's my cue to shut up. So yes, Hatman Labs, thumbs up, I'm liking this. I can't really tell you if it's done much for my focus and energy and anything, but I guess I'll find out over time. You know, I'm not going to find out for one cup, I don't think. But every morning I don't get enough sleep or my head's throbbing or whatever, then I'm gonna have one of these. And I do have matcha as well, ceremonial grade matcha, which has got caffeine in it. This doesn't have caffeine in it, so I can have a cup of this. On a bad night, I can have a cup of this and a cup of matcha, because there's only so much matcha you're supposed to have. I think you're supposed to have 2 cups of matcha, again, because of the caffeine quality intake or whatever. So, okay, so this concludes episode 0, pilot episode of Wake Up and Smell the Racism. I'm known as Godwin Dexter. You call Win for short, which is why I call myself Winnie in the 3rd person. So, yeah. Please support, read, sign and share my change.org petition, because if I do go to court, it's going to look great. It's going to show that people are behind me. I have 35 signatures, but that's, you know, in the space of, I don't know, a year or how long I've had this petition going on. You know, it's hard. These kind of true things about racism, they get suppressed and blackballed and shadow banned and things. So that means we need people to push as much as we can for the algorithm. Yeah. So, yeah, that's me out.